We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home.
Hello and welcome everybody to our number 4 edition of Del and Debbie's Mind, Body, and Soul, and everything in between. We are here to help you to answer your questions, to talk about things that are pertinent to you and your safety and longevity, and we just want to, get the word out. And any way we can, we want you to get involved. So we're going to encourage you to join our conversation today. It happens to be awareness, National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I knew I could say that correctly. And we have some guests on today, and anything that resonates with you or that you want to talk about on the show, please give us a call at 323-473-3100, or go to our Facebook page now if you like and be part of the conversation. You can even just make a comment, ask a question, and we keep checking and we'll answer it for you. So be interactive with us, if you will. And I'd like to introduce Del.
Hi, I'm Del Lady Jones, and I'm a divorce coach, co-host here with Debi. And as Debi said, this is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the show today is shining a light on a situation that goes ignored and underreported. And the statistics are unbelievable. I think it's 1 in 3 women suffer abuse within their lifetime, 1 in 4 men. Not to mention all the children that are witness to the abuse and the effect it has on them. So today we are honored to invite onto our show the beautiful Jeannie Jones, who is the director on the board of directors for Safe Passage, which is a wonderful organization that really has a huge success rate with helping people leave their domestic abuse situations, gain confidence, and it's such a fabulous organization. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself and share all about it.
Yeah, well, I've been on the board for about a year and 9 months on Safe Passage board, and we have a 95% success rate. We've helped almost 1,000 people, and it's amazing work. It's a passion of mine. I have domestic violence in my background as a child, so I can understand what that feels like from a child's perspective, as well as seeing the major dysfunction, terror that is created in the home when a parent or parents are at each other's throats, and usually it's one that is the main perpetrator. So this is full circle for me, to dealt with that as a child, and now to be on the board of directors in a very successful organization of Safe Passage in what we do.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
Well, I see this is a little unorthodox. Should we have Trish join us? She's right there. Trish is the founder of Safe Passage, and I would love her to come on and share her story with us. And
why don't we go to break?
Yes,
and
that's a
we'll
great
come
idea.
right
Why
back
don't we do
with
that?
Trish, because she's just arrived.
Okay,
and
wonderful.
we'll be right back. Don't leave us. Well, we'll
Okay.
be right back. Del and Debbie's Mind, Body, and Soul. We'll see you in a sec.
That good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it. Moving so phenomenally. Room on lock the way we rock it. So don't stop. It's under the lights when everything goes. Nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance. Feel good creeping up on you. So just
I'm Marsha Waiteka, host of the Born to Talk radio show, Mondays, 1 p.m. Pacific. Hi, this is Marsha Waiteka, inviting you to join me every Monday at 1 p.m. for Born to Talk, where conversation plus connections equal community. Be sure to tune in to Born to Talk with Marsha Waiteka, Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also listen live at iTunes Radio R&B, TuneIn Radio, Radio Flag, Live 365, or AHA Radio. This is Reality Radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. We are LA Talk Live, and we are born to talk.
Hey, shout us out. What's the count? I'm your host. I am WDC. Tune in to WDC Radio on LA Talk Live every Saturday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time for sickle cell trait awareness, lupus, bullying, mental health, and all different aspects of life. So tune in to WDC Radio right here on LA Talk Live. Also, you can listen to us on iTunes, Live 365, YouTube, and Ustream. And don't forget Apple TV and Roku right here on LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk. Shout us out. What's the count?
Hello, I'm Joel Ramirez.
And I'm Lolita Robinson Coppage, and welcome to Joy in My House
On latalklive.com. Inspirational radio
with a touch of recovery.
A reality show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one is insignificant who says it.
Exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV.
Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on.
Hi, welcome to the Del and Debi Mind, Body and Soul show. We are talking today in honor of National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The subject today is domestic violence. And as we said before we went to break, this is a phenomenon that is often neglected, a lot of shame around it, under abuse. The dynamics are just mind-blowing at times. But here we have the wonderful Trish Steele, who is the founder of Safe Passage, and I'm so excited to have you on the show. And
Thank you. Excited to be here.
And I think it would be probably a wonderful idea to just start off with you telling us about your past, your history, how you grew up, and just the story that led you to founding Safe Passage.
Sure. The domestic violence actually started in my home when I was 10 years old. My mother was a widow at the age. She was with 3 children at the age of 21. My father died, and then 5 years later she remarried, and my stepfather was the abuser. And what took place in that home, it's like any typical abuse that may go on with the beatings and the emotional abuse and so forth. But the interesting about abuse that people have to realize is once the abuser left the home, you think you're free, but emotionally you're not. Mm-hmm. You're in a cycle that you don't realize you're in, and you have to figure out how to get out of this cycle. So at the age of 15, my stepfather left. I thought I was free. But 10 years later, I was engaged to a man that I was about to marry, and he turned out to be the exact type of abuser of my stepfather. Mm. And one night we were out with another couple. We went to dinner, we had some drinks, we went over to their house. And at that time, we were all sitting in the jacuzzi and just enjoying a glass of wine in each other's company. And my fiance said something to me. He asked me a question. He wanted me to answer back, and I said no. Abusers do not like the word no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They want full control of everything. you're supposed to do whatever they're asked. Well, when he heard the word no come out of my mouth, he took his fist and he took a swing at me with the glass of wine in my hand, and the glass of wine shattered in my forehead and cut my whole forehead open above my eye. I was lucky that it didn't take my eye out.
Mm-hmm.
So all this blood's coming out of my face, just dripping down my forehead, down to my face. And I went into the bathroom. I washed all the blood off. My poor friends witnessed this.
Oh.
And they said, "Oh my God, what are you going to do?" And I said, "I'm getting out of here."
Wow. And then was that the very first time you'd ever had anything like that happen?
It's the first time, no. It's the first time he ever hit me.
Yeah.
Now, I was putting up with 3 years prior to that of emotional abuse. And he would grab me and push me against the wall. And he would leave like bruises on my arm by holding me so hard and threatening me, saying, "If you ever leave, I'm just going to destroy everything about you and destroy everything you own."
Mm-hmm.
So I was in fear of leaving. But when I got that punch, I knew this is my way out.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So I got proof. So what I did was I checked myself into the emergency hospital. I left their house, went to the emergency hospital in Marina Del Rey, where I was living at the time. And as I walked into that hospital, the nurse took me in and said, "Here, introduced me to the doctor." And the doctor took one look at me, and he looked at me with so much compassion, and he said to me, "Don't worry about this. I'm going to fix it as if it never happened."
Oh, wonderful.
And I felt this relief. I felt so much compassion that somebody really cares about how I look. At that time, I had been in the business for, at that time, like at least 10 years in the beauty industry, and I was an ex-model. So my looks were very important to my business. Well, he stitched me up, sent me home, and during that time, I never got a bill from the doctor or a doctor.
Wow, that's
this
amazing.
Doctor did this pro bono.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know the doctor's
No,
name.
He knew. Did he ask you what happened when you were being stitched up?
No, he
knew.
He knew because the nurse had mentioned. So when I first checked in there, I just rattled off real quick what was wrong with me, and then she went back to talk to the doctor, and then she came and got me, and the first look on his face was, "I'm going to help you. I'm going to save you from all this."
Yeah. So from that compassion, did you feel an obligation in a way to help others because you probably felt, or it took some time after that?
What it was is I felt so appreciating, so loved, because my fiance made me feel worthless.
Right.
That's what they do. They do emotional mind game to make you feel worthless.
To make them supposedly feel better.
Yeah. So this made me feel like I was worth something. And it drove me to like, okay, I can do this. I don't need this fiance in my life. This is it. I'm going forward.
That's incredible, because a lot of women, we're talking women right now, but get stuck in that cycle. The whole sort of I think I mentioned before, somebody had once said to me that there's a thing called slap and pet, which is, the slapping, whether it's an emotional slap down or a physical slap, and then it's the pet, I love you, come back, don't leave me. Right. So.
I had all that too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
Verbally, he would just tear me apart. And then I would, sometimes there were times when I ran out of the house in my pajamas and I go hide behind a car because I was so afraid he was going to hit me. He would throw things. He would, take his fist against the wall and, trying to do everything without hitting me until that one incident. We were all out. So basically after that, I realized, I looked back at my life and I said, oh my God, I have never really healed from my past childhood abuse. And I started seeking healing. And during that time I was starting seeking healing, the Lord came into my life. And it was like God just started ministering to me and started showing me this path and this path forward of what he wants to do for me. Mm. And then my passion came to, wow, I'm going to pay this forward. What this plastic surgeon did for me, this doctor, I don't think he was even a plastic surgeon. He was just a regular MD that just took his time and gracefully stitched me. Because to this day, you see no scar there.
I was just going to
There's
say.
no scar there.
I
It's
can't
as
see
if
anything.
it never happened.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so at that point, I knew that I was going to be helping women eventually. And I did. By the time I started Safe Passage and Woman Crowned in Glory, I had already been in this business 20 years, and actually 15 years. And that's all I did was make women feel and look beautiful in front of the camera. I did makeup for still photography. I taught makeup lessons, and I also was a beauty pageant winner. So all these skills that I learned, all I wanted to do was just take them and just impart them into women to make them feel good about themselves and to make them know that they have the chance and they have the gifts that it takes to really to become successful. And so during that time, my husband ended up becoming a minister, and he is an amazing man, and he supported me all the way. Well, I could
Should
just
we go
help
back a little
women.
bit? So this is obviously not the man you married. Rather, you didn't marry the abusive ex-fiance.
I didn't marry the abuser. So I end up meeting somebody else that year, but 3 years later we got married, and now we've been married. It'll be 28 years in December.
Oh, that's so
11th.
wonderful.
That's
And that's incredible that with even that
around.
short amount of time that you were able to recognize that you were in a pattern.
Break the cycle.
Break the cycle and seek out help. What sort of help did you seek out?
Actually, I seek out spiritual help. And because I have done everything that you could think of, you know how we are on the search, and we're searching for anything, for healing, success, happiness, peace, all of that. I have gone through that whole scenario. And I finally encountered God. Like, would you say it's like face to face? I heard his voice.
Beautiful.
I heard him speak to me loud and clear. And he even said he even told me, he says, this is the man I have for you to marry. Because I kept saying, look, I had been married before, one failed marriage before I met the abuser. You see what I mean?
And plus, was there any abuse in that marriage?
Yeah, so and one failed marriage before the abuser
patterns.
was not abusive. Okay, I mean, he wasn't faithful to me, but that's just as bad, you know.
It's a form of abuse.
Kind of
he never
abuse,
came home with different, he got a different woman, but that was just as bad as the
nice.
abuse.
Yeah.
But so I realized, I said, oh my God, because I just got on my knees, and this is how a lot of women, they get on their knees and they just don't know what to do, and all they could do is look up and say, God, help me. Why am I in this situation? And that is the best thing you could ever do. You know, I've heard so many incredible testimonies of people that just got on their knees and just looked up and said, God, help me. I don't know what to do, but you do. You see the hearts of every person on this planet. You know what's best for me. And that's what I did. I surrendered my whole life to God and just said, I made a mess of my life. Please help me. And he did. And so he brought me the right man. And he's been my right arm and helping me get Safe Passage off the ground. And we started, first of all, in the church, we started Women Crowned in Glory, which I did women's retreats. I did teachings and workshops and seminars and dealing with women from all walks of life that have had tragedies in their life. It doesn't necessarily have to be an abusive relationship. It could have been an abusive, father or situation that was emotionally very,
Something that
Yeah.
tore them
tragedy
down
tore them
inside.
down.
I mean,
Whatever
inside.
tore them down.
abandonment is a huge setup
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
low self-esteem and
Right.
Yes.
and then seeking, especially if you're abandoned by your father,
Right.
there's that need in you to sort of win over a difficult, unavailable man, and that can
Right.
set you up for being attracted to abusive types,
Yes.
controlling, distant, angry. The list
Yeah,
goes
because
on.
the abusive type they're very passionate at first, and then once they have you, they become very controlling.
Right.
Yes.
And the way they
They're-
control you is they start eliminating friends, your job, your things that you have, always, been proud of that you've done yourself, and they'll start sharing with you how to eliminate those things because he's your hero. He's gonna take care of you.
Yeah,
that's
He's
right.
gonna all you have to do is just look pretty and just be there and raise the kids. Because I had a daughter from my first marriage, and he had a daughter from his first marriage. So we look like the perfect couple. Here we are. Both have daughters from our ex-marriages. Here's our second time around. We're gonna get married and make this work.
Now, did you ever speak to your abuser's first wife? Was he like that in his first relationship?
His abusive first wife was murdered,
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
and that never got
Was that
really
I
solved.
was gonna ask
But
that.
somebody that they thought did it ended up hanging themselves in jail. So we never got like and I didn't know that much about it until as I was getting into the relationship. It's like, oh, that's, I should have known better because
Don't you
why did
find-
she divorce him?
Yeah.
Because he was probably abusing her.
Exactly. And
right.
also, I mean, I think one of the red flags is that just moving too quickly.
Yes.
Really wanting to get you
Yes.
deep into the relationship before committed,
Yes.
before you find out these things.
Yes.
That's very, very scary. So can we bring Jeannie in for a second? And
Yeah.
so how did you and Jeannie meet? How
Jeannie
did that?
and I, we go back. Wow. I think I'll have Jeannie tell that story. And she's an amazing woman. And because we both, I came from the same background as her as far as, our gifts and talent. But Jeannie, she's got to share how she met me because a lot of people get in touch with me because when you're in the beauty field and the makeup field, you meet so many wonderful women. You meet so many people, and you become very personalized with them because you're the makeup artist.
Yes.
So Jeannie, I'm going to let you share that, Jeannie.
Okay. Well, I was at work and I was working with a client, and just from us having a conversation and what have you and sharing my heart and, my interest and passion, she said, I know a lady you have to meet. And I didn't really know too much what Trish was about and never heard about her or anything like that. I just showed up to one of the meetings and we just clicked and just became bonded, and I started working on different events. She started in 2000, and then I came in 2001. And so I think I was around for about 3 or 4 years, and then, life happens. And so in 2014, it was put on my heart to find her again. And so that's what I did. I Googled her, and we reconnected, and she said she had thought about me throughout the years and what have you, and wondered, what had happened to me and what have you. And she had a space on the board of directors and asked me, and of course it was no way that I could say no. And so that's where I'm at now.
What is your involvement in Safe Passage?
Well, basically events and image, but we kind of wear different hats at times, which is actually pretty great because it expands you as a person as well. So sometimes we're speaking engagements. You never know. I mean, I just finished. I just became certified in floral arrangements, and I ended up doing a floral arrangement from our for our press conference, and I'm like, okay, I just finished my certification, and so and at the venue we were at Sweets Hollywood. It was really really wonderful, and so Sergio Petrino, he's the manager, and he said, you know what, Jeannie? He says, I think we need some florals, and this was like a day before the event. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh my God. That means I have to run downtown and go to the floor. I know it's for me to do it.
Crack it on.
It was on me. And so anyway, it turned out really, really nice.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
That's so great.
So, go
You
ahead.
go. No, you
So what I was going to ask is, what is Safe Passages? How does that, how does that play out for somebody who's in Safe Passages? What can they expect? How does it work? And
Okay.
from
So to make it clear, it's Safe Passage, not Safe
Oh,
Passages.
Passage.
Just
Sorry,
there's a Safe
sorry.
Passages,
Yeah.
and that's a different
Yes.
website.
Thank you.
Safe Passage, and Safe Passage actually compassionately transforms the lives of abused women and their children. And what that means is that we take them through the steps of counseling and workshops and building their self-esteem so that they can become self-sufficient. Once they sign up with us for a year, we have them. They have to qualify for our program. The program is free for them, and this program helps them to become self-sufficient and confident, and helps them get into their own new residence, as well as getting some kind of employment. Now, so everyone is different that comes through our program. Some are already employed, some are not. Some are still in the shelters, some are not. Some are sleeping on somebody's couch, and some are just sleeping in their car. So depending on their commitment to our Safe Passage program, then we will begin the work with them. So for the first 6 months, they're in every week at our office getting the tools and the counseling they need. The last 6 months, we show them how to volunteer and pay it forward. We want these women to learn to network with the community, learn to get back into society and display their gifts and talents, and pay it forward. Some of these women will come in and they will share with the next group of women. So it's like every 3 months there's like a new group of women that come in through the program. So they can come and sit in one of the workshops and share their testimony with the other ladies. So that each group of ladies, they all get to become friends and get to know each other and get to support one another. So the beautiful thing about Safe Passage is that the whole year they're pretty active with us. And then after that, we're their support group for life, basically. We have women that have gone, made it successful and moved to another state, or become their own entrepreneur, start their own business, or got that 9-to-5 job that they always wanted. It's amazing. It's a bunch of great miracles and wonderful things happen for the women and their children. And we also have the children get mentorship and counseling, as well as the favorite thing is the taekwondo classes. We have weekly taekwondo classes for the children, the boys and the girls and the mothers all come together. So then the mother is able to bind with her children in something that they both can do together. And if you ever take taekwondo, it teaches you how to respect one another, how to have peace, how to have self-control, and it's amazing.
Yes,
and I've seen
great
some
that you offer
amazing,
that.
wonderful young kids that were troublemakers become little gentlemen.
That's so funny. I have to share a very quick personal story here. I used to be I used to work on sets as a costume designer, and often my job would take me to the streets of LA at 2:00 in the morning. And one day, as I was going from the set to the trailer, somebody pushed me into a doorway. And luckily, I was working on a Charles Bronson movie at the time, and he was there. And he said to me, "Take self-defense classes right now." And it was the best advice I was ever given. I took up karate. I could walk those streets with a sort of feeling of like, don't mess with me.
Yeah.
And people can sense that. They can
Yes,
sense
they
when
do.
you are vulnerable,
yes.
and they can prey on that.
Yes.
So I completely agree with you. Self-defense
Yeah.
classes is the
The self-defense
absolute
is wonderful. A matter of
best.
fact, today we got somebody here today that you're going to have
I
on.
Yes, we're going to talk all
Um,
about it.
And I'm looking forward to you to interview her next because I'm going to have to leave. But the beautiful thing about the self-defense classes is that the confidence becomes so much better. It's the confidence. It's not about whether I can beat this person up or this person. It's about
The inner
having that
power.
confidence, be able to break away and take off and run to the next safe place. You see
Yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
And it's amazing. So my sister-in-law, I call her my sister-in-law, Angelina. She's been an incredible volunteer, and she's been an incredible woman that comes in and just, you can feel it in her. She's just so inspiring, and you look at her, and then her husband's another one. He's amazing. And I've taken classes and some training through both of them, and they're amazing. And my daughter's taking training right now with Angelina, and she's
So important.
amazing.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
important for
So
our
I'm
kids.
gonna let
Both
them
my
take it
daughters
from
have
here.
done that.
And
too.
I want to thank you
We
both.
want to thank you
You,
very
yes.
much for coming on our show today. For whatever little
Absolutely.
time you have, we were so
Yes,
grateful to have you and tell your story.
Yes.
And we're going to
Wow.
continue the conversation. We have to go to break, and we're going to continue the conversation. We're going to bring Angelina in here and talk about those classes that you offer and so much more about abuse.
And please, if anybody has
Yes.
any questions out there, we have our Facebook page. And can you give the number?
Yes, the
one more
number to
time?
call in, ask a question, 323-473-3100. We're looking forward to your call.
Wonderful.
And hopefully we can answer your questions. I think we can. Become part of the discussion. We'll be right back.
Okay, thank you.
Good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. Can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. Can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. Can't stop the feeling. Yeah. So keep dancing. I can't stop the.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Starlet Quarles, and I'm inviting you to join us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Join us as we discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. So don't forget to tune in to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Frank. And this is Ruslan. Inviting you to join us every Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific, for Cool Classics. Join us as we discuss classical cool in the arts, what has happened, what is happening, and what will happen. So don't forget to tune in to Cool Classics every Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Radio Flag, TuneIn Radio, Aha Radio, TiVo Radio, and Apple TV Radio. Or just watch and listen directly at Cool Classics on latalklive.com. Classic radio handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and this is Frank, and this is Ruslan. And we are more than just talk.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Debbie from Del and Debbie's Mind, Body, and Soul, and everything in between. Del is sitting here with me at our host, where's my co-host, and today we're talking about domestic abuse because it is Domestic Abuse Month, Awareness Month, and we have wonderful ladies here with us today from Safe Passage. And if you'd like to call in, if you have a question or a comment, 323-473-3100. And I'd like to take a second to introduce, before we went to break, we were talking about empowering the women. And one of the things that they do is they learn self-defense. And it's very important for them because their self-esteem has been knocked down for so long as part of the abuse that they've suffered for many years. And we have Angelina Marco with us today. And she, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell us what you do at Safe Passage, and we'll go from there.
Yes, I'm Angelina Margot, and I'm a personal trainer. And
There you go.
before I discuss what we're do with Safe Passage, I'd like to share a little bit of background about myself. When I first met my husband, Ray Velasquez, who was a personal trainer, I got to see firsthand how he transformed bodies. It was amazing. But he wasn't only transforming bodies, he was transforming lives. And I would see the changes in his clients in their body language, in their faces, in their confidence. They stood taller, they looked stronger. And I would see the messages he would get from them, the cards. Thank you for helping me get out of my comfort zone. And thank you for helping me get my superwoman back. Now I feel like I can do anything. And so it was almost immediately some of them would experience whole life transformations, career successes and relationship successes. And basically they were being empowered through the fitness and the self-defense training that he was doing. And
now, were you already involved or in Safe Passage, or did you have a history yourself of any abuse?
I did. I worked at Safe Passage as a volunteer with support groups, but not in fitness. It wasn't until I had met my husband that I saw the changes that fitness and self-defense could make in people's lives, and I wanted to be a part of that, transforming lives through fitness and self-defense. So the Safe Passage organization, the cause of domestic violence, is very dear to my heart because I had been in an abusive relationship with my ex-husband, and Trish took me under her wings. And so I know firsthand how valuable organizations like Safe Passage are.
Now, just to go back to that for a second, did you go through the program yourself before you started working there, or you said she took you under her wing? Was that as a friend or a mentor or part of the Safe Passage program?
At that time, it was mainly as a mentor and some counseling, but I was immediately involved in working, and that in itself was very empowering.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And so currently, our work with Safe Passage, now that I'm a personal trainer now and train in self-defense, is to help raise awareness about domestic violence and to contribute to the prevention of domestic violence by addressing the number one reason why victims stay in battered relationships, which is low self-esteem. And we do this by training in fitness and self-defense techniques and strategies. So basically, our clients and Safe Passage members are gaining strength and learning how to defend themselves, which is very empowering for women.
Yeah. I bet you see a change from, the sort of timid woman that comes in for the first class compared to, do you have some sort of I'm sure there's a progression where you almost get to like a graduation for them, where they get to the point where they can demonstrate the skills that they've learned.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And I really do feel that, you see depression and you see low self-esteem and holding the head down and talking in a low voice and not feeling comfortable with saying no.
Yeah.
Right.
If they're not in agreement or don't feel comfortable doing something and that they're asked to do because they've been in abusive relationships.
So do you start from the beginning, just having them learn verbal recognition or verbal empowerment, like words that they can say, or stop, you're getting too close, or I'm not going to listen to? I mean, what is it that you start with first before you get to the actual physical?
Well, during the self-defense techniques that we're teaching in the workshops, they are actually saying no. So they're practicing the no muscle
Okay.
while they're doing the
Okay.
techniques, and they're yelling no and stop as they're doing the techniques. So even for women who have never been victims before, if there's an attack, if they're attacked, they freeze up. So we're preparing them for the unexpected, and they're learning how to say no, which is building their confidence and their self-esteem.
Which is also the first thing you want to say, even to somebody who's never been abused from anybody from anywhere who's going to.
Correct.
I have 2 daughters that went to Marymount High School. And that's an all-girl Catholic school here in LA. And they both, for PE, took self-defense, which was a program, and the very first thing they did was learn how to say no. And I have to say that my youngest daughter had, it's unfortunate, but it helped her. She had to use those skills when she was abroad. And I'm so glad she did. And she came home from abroad with a black eye that didn't heal for several months, but she protected herself and her girlfriend she was with from the skills that she learned. So important.
Yes.
One other question I have for you. We were talking earlier with Jeannie about that it's not just women. I know we're tending to focus on women here, but you were mentioning earlier that you know people in your life that have men that have suffered from abuse as well. I think the statistic is 1 in 4 men.
Probably something like that.
Yeah, 1 in 4 men, believe it or not, have suffered some type of abuse in an intimate relationship. And do you teach men too?
Yes, men are welcome. We do have some workshops that are for women only, because sometimes they're more comfortable in a group with women, and children are always welcome. And we do have workshops also for men and women as well. So everyone is welcome.
So you do men and women together. Do you do children and women, or are the children workshops separate?
It all depends on the organization. Sometimes it's team building workshop that we'll do for companies, small businesses. So it's individualized to the clientele or the organization.
Well, I just wanted to bring Jeannie in for a moment here. She's also to talk about some of the other programs that you offer. You're going to ask that too. We're always right in sync with each other.
We wore the same outfit today, now.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
We finish each other's sentences.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Well, we have workshops on self-esteem building, on wardrobe image, because a lot of the women sometimes leave with just the clothes on their back, and we even offer brand new wardrobes. We have companies like Jessica Simpson and other companies that donate just huge amounts of clothing and handbags so that our clients have a brand new start. Of course, self-defense, the counseling for healing. Some of our ladies are interested in starting their own businesses, so we have workshops for that. I mean, we pretty much do any and everything we can.
So do you individualize it for each one of your client, the women that come in, based on what their backgrounds is and what their need? I know we touched on it a little bit.
Well, I mean, if there's something that's really unique to that client, but pretty much everybody goes through the same thing.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, but I mean, if someone is interested in starting a business, then they would go to more of an entrepreneurial workshop than maybe someone who is interested in becoming an attorney or, having a 9-to-5. And just in helping them with actual job training placement, as well as resume building and getting them job opportunities and teaching them interviewing skills, all those things. Because we've even had women who have had very successful careers before they were into the abusive situation, and you just forget. You forget how to
the abuse
be a
overrides
success.
everything.
You forget.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
it's
lost your confidence, lost your
right,
self-esteem,
your
and
confidence.
your place in the world.
Exactly.
So, what are the things, just for, and if there are any viewers or listeners out there that either know of someone or they themselves are in an abusive relationship right now and feeling stuck and don't know where to turn, where would you suggest they call?
Well, we have a great website. It's safepassagelives.org or safepassageheals.org, and we have an amazing amount of information on there, including our email address and telephone number. So that's what I would suggest that you do.
And I also want to just one second, just to point out that abuse doesn't necessarily have to be physical abuse. There's within a relationship, there can actually be sexual abuse, financial abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, and physical abuse. And to not feel ashamed for reaching out, and if it feels abusive to you, it is abusive.
Absolutely.
And to really learn to listen to that, your intuition, and to respond accordingly. Because as Trish was sharing earlier, she had 3 years that built up to that final blow and the glass in the forehead. She mentioned 3 years of the put downs, the shaming, the just chipping away at that self-esteem, and it's a slippery slope, and it's about power. I mean, that's what it's really about, power and control.
Exactly.
So
you go. No, you go. I was just going to ask the signs that people should be able to recognize, because sometimes when you're in it, like you said, you can't really delineate between, is it, or, I know I'm not feeling right, but I love him. He's so great when all these things are happening. He brings me flowers on my birthday and other, so I don't really think this is abuse. What they're doing over there, I've seen abuse, and this is not what I have. What should women be aware of?
Well, one thing that we really have to remember is that when a man wants you, he's going to do whatever he can to win you over. So one of my concerns, I'm always happy when, women say, oh, I just met this wonderful man and he's so great and this and that. But my thing is, watch him. Right. Give it some time.
Absolutely.
And definitely it's very important, not that you create challenging situations, but you need to see this man under distress. In distressful situations to see how he handles it. And I always tell people, I don't only look at how, and this is my male and female friendships and relationships, and even with my family. It's not just how people treat me. I want to see how they treat the server. I want to see how they treat the teller at the bank. I want to see what is their attitude.
Right.
Because if they have ugliness, especially for no reason at all, I can understand, if something happens and, someone has an attitude and, you're having a tough day or whatever, and you're just kind of snarly or whatever. But I mean, if that's kind of just like the way you roll, except for you're perfect with me, but you're different with other people, that's a sign right there.
100%. That's one of the very first signs, I think, because as you said, in the beginning, it's all wine and roses. They're trying to, it's very charming and trying to win you and seduce you. And yes, the moving too fast is a huge red flag rather. Any of others that you can?
I just want to say this too is very important, because this is something, Dale, that you mentioned our last time together, and I was so impressed with it, about understanding longing versus love. Mm-hmm. And we're in a society where the word love is very confused. Love is never supposed to hurt. Yeah. The songs that say, about, oh, you hurt me real bad, and even though you continue to hurt me, I still love you. Yeah. There's something real wrong with that. Mm-hmm. And so it's real important that that you're in a good place before you get involved in a serious relationship, period. Absolutely. It's okay to not be ready, because if this man is really for you, he's going to wait. and he's going to be open for you to do whatever work you need to do for yourself, be it career, be it emotional, being your education, whatever you need to do. If he's the one, he's going to be there.
Do you think people can change if it can, like, for instance, some people meet their significant other very young, and then something happens over the years where he's frustrated, depression kicks in, he starts drinking a little more, and the abuse gradually starts to build, but wasn't there in the beginning. It's not something that innately for somebody all the time to be abusive, correct? That it could come later, and that even if you've been in a long-term marriage and what you see now isn't what you saw 10, 15 years ago, you should not stay just because used to know the guy wasn't that way.
Right. You know what? I just believe that our society has created an atmosphere where, and I'm just going to go here, where sexually we have, connected that with, oh, it's the third date, or, whatever the situation is. So, let's just go ahead to the next step.
Right.
And, that's chemistry transferring. There's all kinds of different things that happen. And I think we just move too fast in different ways. And it's difficult to really be clear and have clarity about, is this guy really okay that we thought was okay? Or the woman. It's physical attraction. It's, sexual many times. We don't take the time to really, really get to know some. Oh, that's old fashioned. That's the way they used to do it.
I also, just to jump in on that one, it's, for me, I did a lot of work have done for the last 30 years of my life in and around relationships and healing, sort of from a dysfunctional childhood. What once somebody pointed out to me, and it's so true, when you have an immediate electrifying feeling with somebody else, call it chemistry, passion, connection, whatever it is, more often than not, if you have some unhealed childhood wound inside you, it's just your wound is matching with their wound, and where you haven't healed yourself, you're just pulling in somebody to take you right back to that place. So as much as passion is lovely, but just pay attention to it, because it's usually that sort of the phrase madly in love. Just really, I chose to be gently and sanely in love, and I am, and it's wonderful. But gone are the days of madly in love, because they were all not a good. So great for healing.
I think we're all looking for that too. So I'm glad you clarified that, really, because I think people always, you have to hear, where's the spark? We got to find the spark. And if you don't have the spark, you keep moving on. I know I'm not in a relationship. I'm looking for a spark. So that was good clarification, because I think if, you're right. If there's something that's just pushing you towards each other, it's dysfunctional, probably.
I think it's really important that we feel good about who we are, whether we're in or out of a relationship.
100%.
And do we feel safe in or out of a relationship?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. And it can be an intimate relationship, a friendship, a work environment, in any place you go with people you're with, you should always feel safe. And good about who you are.
Yeah, and to just join in on that, just your relationships. I mean, if somebody's treating you in a way that you would never ever treat a child or your friend or somebody like that, there's something wrong with that relationship. Relationship shouldn't be about tearing each other down and trying to change each other or control each other. And we were talking about that as well before, about that level of respect where. Because all of this, it really boils down to control. Somebody that's very afraid of losing control in the relationship, maybe losing their partner. They often move you geographically from your family and your friends to have that control, or you give up your job, or so you just don't have as much contact with the outer world. You don't really have that support system.
Right. So. And one thing I had mentioned to my husband when I first met him is, I want to see how you treat strangers.
That's what
Are you kind to strangers? And I love that he likes to empower me. He wants me to be a little powerhouse in fitness, self-defense, kickboxing. And I love sharing that with clients and with the clients of Safe Passage as well. It's very fulfilling.
That's
very
beautiful.
Nice.
Lovely.
One last thing, because I know we're winding down. So, just to clarify, if someone thinks they're in an abusive relationship, should they be going? Like, I know many years ago, 30 plus years ago, my sister had 3 small boys, and she was in an abusive relationship, and she had to go to a shelter, and so I picked her up on a corner and dropped her off at a corner, so her husband couldn't see her leave. And I had, because of course I was the first person he called to try to figure out where she and the boys went. I couldn't see where they went. A van picked her up on a corner somewhere. Safe passage is after they've been in the shelter, to go through the program to redo their life. Reboot.
It's basically you've left the abuser. Or the abuser is not in the house anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so very important.
If somebody thinks they're in an abusive relationship, what do you suggest they should do? And then safe passage would be the next step.
Well, on our website we do have information about different agencies, shelters, different things like that. So they can always email us, and we can get answers to them. I mean, and they can call the office.
Yeah, and I was just about to give the number of the office here. It's 818-323. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. I'll start again. 818-232-7476. And you will help anybody, help direct them to where the shelters are and where they can get help. Is that correct?
Yes, that's our desire to do that. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to say we really, really would love it if people could donate, and our website, it's very easy to do that. We're a nonprofit organization, so it's tax deductible. Domestic abuse affects everyone. Even if you're in a beautiful, loving relationship, trust me, somebody is in a terrible one, and it affects the children, your children when they go to school, the bullying, all of that, because it's a trickle-down effect. So please support Safe Passage, and also, we have wonderful events.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, once you share, I know you both have events coming up, so Angelina, you can share yours first.
Oh, yes. Our next event is Sunday, October 23rd at 2 p.m. at Clover Park, and that is a women's self-defense charity event. So it's a $47 fee, and all proceeds will go to a local shelter for battered women and their children. So you can reach us at ragebybodyshocks@gmail.com. We're also on Rage by Body Shocks on Facebook and Instagram.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Jeannie, you have a gala event that's coming up.
Yes, we have a white gala on December 8th at CBS Studios, Radford. And it's going to be amazing. We're going to have our first empowerment fashion show. We're going to have old-fashioned carolers. It's just going to be a beautiful winter holiday feeling and atmosphere with lots of pomp and circumstance. And I love pomp and circumstance. And you'll love it. And it's $75, and the proceeds will go to Safe Passage to help our clients.
Okay, that's great.
Thank
you.
And
what kind of things, really quickly, do you want for donations? Just so
finances.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So you don't want people to donate clothes or
I mean, we have really great manufacturers and designers that are doing that for us. I mean, we're not going to not receive it if that's something that's on your heart.
Yeah.
But we actually end up sometimes having to turn people away, and it's very hurtful because we want to do everything we can to help. And I'm telling you, we're definitely a nonprofit that mostly every piece of money that comes in, I know that's not good grammar, but it goes to helping. Trust me, I've seen Trish go without her salary to help the ladies and the clients.
Yeah.
So,
and also you were talking about volunteers, doctors, dentists.
Yes, thank you. Yes, plastic surgeons, dentists, Dr. Gold, we thank him. He's been great helping our clients. Sometimes the teeth are knocked out, all kinds of things. It's awful, So we could definitely, anybody that's professional, they have those kind of talents and gifts, please get in touch with us at safepassagelives.org.
Yeah,
that is lovely.
And thank you so much for doing the work you do. I think one of the most important things and to stop the cycle. I mean, it's just definitely something that goes from generation to generation. and if we can stop the cycle, and sounds like you're doing it. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for coming today and taking the time out of your day. So appreciative.
Yeah.
So we want to thank everybody for joining us. We want to thank our audience. If you have any comments, even post-show, go to our Facebook page, Del and Debbie's Mind, Body, and Soul, and make a comment about today's show, or share something that you want to talk about that has something to do with abuse that may have happened to you. And we're going to be here next week. It's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month for October, and we have 2 great breast cancer survivors to tell their stories. So please join us next week, 2 o'clock Pacific time. Thank you, Del.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, girls.
And
We'll
thank
see you
you,
next
Jeannie
week.
and Angelina. Thank you so much for everything you do for the women and children and men
I
that come to your
appreciate
center.
it. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Bye.
So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop that. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well you already know. So just imagine.
Thank you for tuning in to LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network, original reality radio, and crafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk. Stay tuned.